Well, so far in this program, we have taken a look at jail funding, some of the shortfalls, contracting versus condition of probation, some of the rehabilitation programs that they offer. But it all boils down to money. And so far, the counties have not been receiving their fair share of support from the state. So what are some of the solutions? Well, ultimately, they will lie here with the Utah State Legislature. So we thought it appropriate that we take a moment to analyze and explore some of those possibilities.
The jail reimbursement money, that's your large counties. The jail contracting is your rural counties, just like Garfield County. And we don't want to see the two competing against each other. Those two funding streams both need to be funded.
For condition of probation inmates, recommendations over the past 23 years have included asking the legislature to revoke the court's authority to sentence a defendant directly to jail and place that authority with the Department of Corrections. In that period of time, the issue of jail funding continues to come up. It becomes a perennial topic of each session, but all this talking still hasn't led to a solution.
This year, we're looking at a little variation on what we proposed last year, which was an increase in alcohol tax. We've done some further research into where the existing revenues are going. They're already being collected by the state off of alcohol tax. And out of $13 million, $5 million is already dedicated to law enforcement functions. So rather than propose an increase in the tax this year, which seems unlikely, we're drafting legislation to dedicate the other $8 million out of the 13 to fund condition of probation prisoners. Now that won't totally solve the problem, but it's a big step. It's already funding that's there. We're actually getting an equal amount, if not more, revenue out of the general fund. So it's really just an exchange of one source of funding for another, but it gets us a dedicated source so that in the future we don't have to fight that battle you're talking about quite as head-on as we do now.
The solution? Well, one solution I suggested that didn't get my support was, why don't we have the state then take over the county jails? Why don't we tell the sheriff, true, you do your investigations, but don't worry about the jail anymore, and we'll have it a state-run operation.
Some of the counties have actually pushed back and said, once we get to this level of condition of probation prisoners, our county ordinances say no more. We're not taking them, because they know it's going to drive their budgets where they're going to go bankrupt. It's going to kill them.
There have been a number of different ideas that have been floated in the past few years. A tax on beer, a tax on liquor, a tax on prescription medications, an extra fee added to motor vehicle registration. Those are all things that have been discussed, but so far have not been implemented, primarily because they're all difficult. We're back up to $11 million for fiscal year 12. So if there's good news, the good news is it seems to be going back up. It seems to be going in the right direction, and the governor has supported, to whatever extent he can, increasing the funding for jail as a condition of probation.
But rising revenues don't always equal more jail funding. After all, why would the public want to shift funds from community projects that they could enjoy towards inmates in the county jail?
I think that when the citizens of Salt Lake County and the citizens of the counties in general understand that they're subsidizing some state inmates despite a negotiated settlement that occurred, they should contact their legislators and say, we want the C.O.P. problem resolved because we're having to bear the burden. And in Salt Lake County, that means $2 to $5 million a year.
I'd like to thank you for sticking with us through this half hour. This information is very important. Our intention in producing this program was to help you understand the issues thoroughly that affect jail funding and realize the impact that it has on you as citizens of the counties of the state of Utah. We also hope that you will take this information and enter into dialogue with your friends and neighbors, and more importantly, that you will talk to your state senators and legislators about the fact that the counties and potentially your property tax dollars are disproportionately covering the costs of housing state-convicted inmates in county jails. If you would like to spread the word of this documentary, please tell people to go to our website, thecountyseat.tv, and you can watch it again. Until then, we will look for you next week on the county seat right here at 8 o'clock in the mornings on ABC4. Thanks. We'll see you later.